Back into the room. All right, let's get started. We've got a lot to do in this segment. I think you're going to have a blast with it, but we want to make as much time as possible for Q&A at the end as well. So let's roll on this one. First off, big round of applause to Jacqueline and Alexis for sharing some of their ideas today. Very good, grateful. You guys can make the slides go live if you want to. Yep, not a problem. All right, perfect. So, got a question for you real quickly. When you're at an event and somebody says, hey, what do you do? What do you say? When you have an opportunity and you come to a networking event and somebody sees you and they go, oh my God, Ben, God, thanks for coming, man. Hey, you guys got to meet Ben. Ben, tell him what you do. And you're immediately put on the spot. What do you do? You're at a business networking international meeting where everybody gets to stand up and do a little 60-second or a 90-minute or a 2-minute pitch. What do you do? Another question. What makes some companies go, to use a modern day term, viral versus some don't? I'm sure we've all been there, right? Where there's been times where we've looked online, we saw one of our competitors, they've just won an award, and we go, I should have that award. Or we saw that they landed a big deal, and we think, man, I could have done a better job for them than that. We've probably all been there at one point in time or not. What makes a company go viral, for lack of a better word, or get a mass amount of people behind them to where they want to support that? Like, why is Harley Davidson such a popular brand, right? Are they more worthy than you? What do you guys think? Yay, nay? No. But yet, for some reason, the public seems to think that they're pretty worthy, right? So what makes your company more worthy than them? If they're not more worthy than you, I'll assume that you're more worthy than them. Any answer? Like, do you fundamentally believe you're better than your competition? Yes or no? Yeah, but I'm asking you what makes you different, and I'm not hearing a lot of talking. I'm not seeing a lot of hands. So this is an interesting concept, right? And for me, as a pitch consultant, which is really the mainstay of what I've been known for over the years, I think that's a pretty important question to answer. So we're going to play a game today called Pitch It to Win It, and just see how your pitches are, right? Pretty simple, pretty easy, and it's going to be pretty fun. And a good pitch competition always has to have a prize. So we have to have a prize in order to have the pitch competition work. What is the prize? The prize is going to be a personalized one-on-one consultation and pitch creation from me, which is what I do when I'm not simultaneously trying to add value to Dan and give him grief and make his life hell. So that is valued at $3,500, and somebody's going to win it here today, which means I'll sit down with you one-on-one, and I will craft and create for you a pitch that covers the 8 most popular questions that people are asking inside their head, which at any given time, should you choose to, you can pull any one of those 8 in any order to create a wide variety of different types of presentations, to where it can be a short 5-second response, upwards of a 2 or 3 minute response as well. Sound like a fun deal? Oh, yeah. Sound like something worth pitching for? Oh, yeah. Wonderful. So here's how this competition works. We're going to start off in groups of 2, and you're going to pitch to one another, right? So find groups of 2, go now. This shouldn't be too hard. If you're here with a partner, don't pitch with them, right? So you guys probably want to separate out. Once you're there, wait for instruction. Yeah. Yeah, once you've got your pair, wait for instruction. Raise your hand if you don't have a partner yet. Raise your hand if you do not have a partner. You guys are in the same business, though. That's okay, that's okay. Raise your hand if you don't have a partner. Yeah, you all swap? Okay, perfect. There we go. So we'll do swaps. All right, if you can hear the sound of my voice, please clap once. If you can hear the sound of my voice, please clap twice. If you can hear the sound of my voice, please clap 3 times. I hit the perfect clap right when I turned my ear, and all I'm hearing is a buzzing, ringing in my ear now. All right, is there anybody who does not have a partner right now? This mathematically worked out all too well. All right, here we go. This is your job. You're going to have 2 minutes apiece to tell them what you do. Just 2 minutes, all right, which might, for some of you, seem like an eternity. Others might seem like it goes by really quickly. Yes, Emma?
So because Phil doesn't have a partner, but I've now got
Got it handled? All right, okay, cool, cool. All right, so you're going to pitch each other. You've got 2 minutes to do that. And then after that, wait for your instructions. We'll start the timer now. You guys, the person that goes first is the person who is tallest. All right, so we'll let the tall people go first. All right, are you ready? Let's get pitching. Go.
Okay, well, I'm Steve, and I'm here to tell you about Corda Forestry. We manage woodlands and forest in the northeast of Scotland for a range of private investors. What sets us apart from our competitors is that we believe we can demonstrate professional integrity. A lot of our competitors have a conflict of interest. They're the manager giving their clients advice. They're also the contractor, and they're also the timber merchant, which a lot of the time they're not really acting in the client's best interests. We've got a transparent charging structure, and importantly, we can demonstrate that we've maximized the return on the client's investment, which in many cases has been a 40-year investment they've made. So maximizing the return on that is vitally important, and I believe that's what we can do.
All right, well done. Give him a round of applause. For reference, that was a 60-second pitch, not a 2-minute pitch, and that's perfectly fine. That can sometimes work to your advantage. It can sometimes work to your disadvantage. We don't know how that's going to play out, but well done. You did great. All right, randomly, you're just going to pick the person who's closest to the finger. Ah, Sonia, there we go. All right, so here you are. Ready to go. I'll start the timer when you start talking.
Before you start, can I say it's really hard to do this holding this thing.
Sorry, go for it.
Okay. Hello, I'm Sonia Gill, and I run a company called Heads Up. And at Heads Up, we specialise in helping schools become outstanding, to move from good to great. Schools that we support are 300% more likely to gain or maintain that outstanding judgment, but we don't look at the Ofsted framework. Most schools are good and will stay at good. Very few go on to become great. And what we found is that the journey to get to good is different from the journey from good to great. What got you there won't move you forward. And the difference is culture. Is everybody on board pulling in the same direction? So you've probably heard that metaphor, is everybody on your bus? Yeah, I hate the bus because you're up the front driving and they're behind sitting doing whatever they want. So let's think of our teams and our culture as being a boat. Yeah, a rowing boat with 100 oars, and it's got 3 sections. In the top section, there are people like you. You're rowing hard, you're rowing fast, you're trying to make every single stroke count for more, to go further. In the middle, people are rowing, maybe not as hard, maybe not as fast, maybe not quite as smart. And at the bottom, maybe they're not rowing, maybe they're rowing in the wrong direction, maybe they're digging their oar in. What we do is we help get the whole team to be at the top end of the boat. Because can you imagine, think of your teams, think of a school team, how much easier and how much better would your school team, your organisation be if everyone was at the top of the boat? We help school leaders get everyone to the top of the boat because their plans are fine. It's just that not everyone is on board with their plans fully and executing them as well as they can. Schools that we work with get great results and are 300% more likely to gain or maintain their outstanding judgment.
Well done. All right, that was 1 minute and 45 seconds. Yep, so pretty close. Well done. All right, somebody catch this? All right, there you go. You're next.
That was really bad timing.
All right, I'll start the timer when you start speaking. Yep, there we go.
Hello, everybody. I'm Amy, and I run a business called Pause Therapy Dogs. Pause Therapy Dogs changes the lives of thousands of children, young people, and vulnerable adults by enabling a novice pet owner to train a therapy dog. Now, animal-assisted therapy is becoming incredibly popular, and for brilliant reason. Studies have shown that it can increase the likelihood of students engaging in education, it can improve our mood, it can lower our blood pressure and increase our overall well-being and mental health. Pause has harnessed the unique individual benefits of animal-assisted therapy and animal-assisted interventions, and we have compacted down all of the complex teachings into a comprehensive online 6-month program that enables a novice dog owner to provide insanely positive animal-assisted interventions to the end user. Those people could be pupils, they could be colleagues, and they could be family, and they could be friends. That has an insane impact on companies, organizations, and educational establishments all around the world. And that is why I think I should win the sales pitch.
Well done. All right. That was 1 minute and 15 seconds. Pretty well. All right. So now we're ready to go. Alexis, pick a number between 1 and 10.
7.
Pick a number 2. There we go. All right.
What was the number?
All right. I'll hit start whenever you are ready.
Okay, lovely to meet everyone. My name's Mike. I'm from MGN Events. We are a creative events management company, and we service 2 core markets. Our first market is corporate individuals, corporate brands, sorry. We help companies that are sized between 250 employees plus help produce fantastic events for their employees that drive business change. We also help high net worth individuals plan milestone birthdays and celebrations in their back gardens and in venues. Essentially, our service allows our clients to be a guest at their own party. That's me.
All right, well done. That was a 40-second pitch. All right, and bringing up the rear here, we got Alexis. That sounded really weird and awkward.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah, it did.
All right.
I liked it. It's fine.
All right, take it home, Alexis.
Hi there. I'm Alexis from Air Manual. At Air Manual, we help small businesses, medium-sized businesses like yours to solve one of their most common problems, which is how do you provide the guidance to your teams so that they can do things right? Without the onboarding, without the checklist, without the processes, you'll frequently get really expensive mistakes. It'll be really hard for you to delegate, and your best people, including you, will spend all your time having to spoon feed and train people in your organization. With Air Manual, we provide a platform and a 4-stage approach that helps businesses to solve this and remove the friction from it as much as possible. In my business, in my other software business, it's enabled me to take a 6-week holiday last year. It's enabled me to never work weekends. I walk the kids to school every morning, and I'm able to be out of my business day to day. For other business leaders, we've helped them save hundreds of hours, stop the mistakes, and get people up to speed in their businesses in days rather than months or years. In terms of the sorts of processes we help people with, it might be that they need to let go of providing quotes to customers or sorting out their sales processes, or maybe you've got a problem where you've got oversubscribed on clients, but your client onboarding process has got too many holes in it, and as a result, you know that you'll scale a problem. We help you through the 4-stage approach, focusing on your biggest problem, not trying to document everything, but starting with the biggest pain point for you right now so that you get value in days or weeks rather than having to wait. So that's what we do at MA. Thank you.
Well done. All right, that was 1 minute and 40 seconds. Yes, well done. All right, so, okay, now we got to pick a winner. So we're going to do this in the most unofficial way possible. We're going to do it through loudness of applause. So we're going to just kind of go right down the row here. So was it Stephen on Zoom? Steve. So by round of applause, how many think Steve had the most worthy pitch that should win the prize? All right. How many think Sonia should win the prize? Okay. How many think Amy should win the prize? How many think Alexa should win the prize? All right. And how many think Mike should win the prize? All right, so it's between these two, clearly, so we'll have them step forward. So how many think Sonia should win the prize? How many think Amy should win the prize? That's pretty close. I'm not exactly sure who it is, so we're going to go to a vote. What's that? Oh, who won? It was Amy. All right. Well done.
That's actually not what it's called either.
What'd you call it, a noisometer? Yeah, that's what I would have called it. Well done. All right. Listen, first off, congratulations. So here's my card. There's my email on that. That'll expire in June, but let's get together and I'll help you work in person. Perfect, no problem. All right, I'll be on a plane. All right, go return to your seats. Thank you very much. And now let's have a conversation. So I got a couple questions for you. Perfect. All right, good. So my question for you is this. Why did their company just win? What was present in her pitch that maybe wasn't present in all of the other pitches? And I don't think that's a fair act, because I think you're going to find that, by the way, all of these 5 people shared a lot of commonalities. There was something, though, maybe just that one little thing that kind of put her over the edge just barely. So why did their company win? Pause. Yes? Energy. There was some good energy. Okay. Yep, that's a good one. Okay. Could feel the heart in it. That's okay. Remember that word for a second, okay, Alexis?
Yeah, I thought there's early on mention of impact, so thousands of children? Was that like one of the first lines?
Yeah.
That's really powerful.
Yep.
It was very authentic and very emotive.
My apologies, I forgot to use the catch box. Sorry about that. Sorry, Zoomers.
Should we repeat?
Yeah, no, it's fine. That's because I've got a more important question, or a different. I don't know if it's more important, but a different question. Why didn't you win? Like, that might even be more telling, huh? We could focus on her and what Amy said and how she did it and the passion that she had, and all of that's relevant. We should have that conversation. But before we have that conversation, have an internal conversation with yourself. Why didn't you win? Like, are you sitting there going, I have a better pitch than that? But why didn't you get up here? What was it? Like, was it something as simple as, well, there were 2 of us, and I didn't feel like I should fight that hard for it, so I just gave it to the person and knocked myself out, right? Like, how many times do you have an opportunity to fight for something? For you, for your company, for what you do, but maybe you pass because you just don't want to make the waves. Right? Maybe it was because you were unprepared. I'm like, oh, well, I didn't even know that this was going to be happening. Fair enough. But how many times do you have an opportunity to tell people what you do, right? There's really no excuse for not being prepared when somebody says, what do you do, right? Maybe there was just something, maybe you were prepared, maybe you fought for it, but maybe you were just missing a component. Maybe there was just an element that was missing. Like, maybe you didn't have anything grand, like, we've changed the lives of thousands of kids every day or something. I can't remember exactly what the line was, right? And you're like, maybe if I would have just had that one line that talked about something so big that it was inspiring, that would have been the thing to push me through. That's a valid question as well, right? So let's go back, right? And let's just look at that and let's evaluate what these finalists possessed, and Amy, the winner as well, yeah. But what were the components there that maybe if you're looking at it objectively, you're going, yeah, I actually was missing that. And if I would have had that, I think I would have ended up on stage. Maybe I wouldn't have won, but I would have ended up on that finalist spot. What do you guys think? Let's have a conversation. What were those things? We've heard a couple things. We've heard heart. We've heard energy. What was the thing that you said? Neil, I think you said something about, it wasn't you. Oh, maybe it was you. So I thought somebody said something. Yeah, I don't know what it was. What's that? There was a big outcome or something, right? Yeah. What else?
I think Sonia had a good story.
There was a great story. Yep. Okay. What else?
Really good analogy, actually. I love the boat. It was fantastic.
Like an analogy? Uh-huh.
Very memorable.
Let's dig a little bit deeper in that. When you say that analogy, what do you mean?
She brought it to life.
What brought it to life? What was it that brought that pitch to life?
I think it was she sounded polished, but not robotic, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, there was an authenticity about it. Okay, yeah.
It was very visual. So
What made it visual?
the analogy, like the fact that she called into our heads the sticking the oar in, you know, the jokes in there around a visual.
Okay.
Clarity. I absolutely understood what she did.
How many agree? Like, is there any, like you all know exactly what she does, right? And that's one of the 4 main components that a great pitch will always contain, is massive amounts of clarity. There shouldn't be any wondering about, like, but what does that mean, right? And one of the biggest challenges that I see when people make a pitch, one of the biggest challenges, is they tend to be cute, they try to be unique, and they try to stand out too soon. I'll give you one of my favorite examples of this. It was at an event, and this person approaches me, and I asked them what they did, and they were, and these were their exact words, I'm a cranial not proctologist, that would be a weird thing. I'm a cranial prosthetic technician. Cranial prosthetic technician. Sounds impressive, right? Like, I don't know about you, but if you met a cranial prosthetic technician, would you be a bit intimidated on their brain power? I was, but that's probably because I'm kind of insecure. Like, I was sitting there going, is this like a neurosurgeon? Like, what does she do, right? Anybody know what a cranial prosthetic engineer is? Yeah, those were the closest. She makes wigs. Yeah, she designs wigs. So she got so creative on this cranial prosthetic engineering thing, and all she had to do was say, I design wigs. And I would have instantly had clarity with her and known exactly what she was, right? And had I been in the need for a wig or known somebody who was in for the need for the wig, I could have immediately given her a referral. But because she chose to be cute and witty and kind of unique and different, just missed me altogether, right? And then you might sit there and go, yeah, but isn't it good to make yourself sound so more important? I'm like, what's more important than making a wig for somebody who has cancer and they've lost their hair and there's no self-esteem in them when they look into a mirror, and she actually gets to help recreate that self-esteem and that confidence by creating the most realistic wigs. I see nothing wrong with that. I find that highly credible, yep. And by the way, it also starts to incorporate some of those other things, right? There were some pictures in there as well. So clarity is an absolute important element inside a powerful pitch. Don't try to get overly creative, right? Don't sit there and say that you're a transportation specialist that specializes in getting dynamic, executive, big thinking people from where they're at in life to where they want to go on a consistent, proficient basis. Just say you sell cars, right? Just keep it simple, right? So people go, I got it. All right. So that's one of the components. Let's keep talking. Some of these things are there, but I want to see if we can get clarity beyond like the descriptions and see if we get it down to one word.
There was a whole journey of what the avatar, for want of a better expression, you know, our clients are served in this way, and then as Jacqueline was saying, you know, you could really see a story, a representation of how, even if you're not that avatar, that impacts.
Yeah, I would probably give that to the credibility, or sorry, to the clarity side, right? Because I think that's what created that clarity in your mind. So I'd probably say it's a part of that. I just gave away the second one, so I'll just say it. Did you guys find her to be credible? Did you find Sonia to be credible? Which one was even more credible? Let me ask you that. I would have actually given that to Sonia on that one. And the only thing that gave her the slight advantage on the credibility is she backed it up with some pretty cool statistics about what the rankings were. You did have some, but I felt like there was just a little bit more there. But both of them were highly credible. Like, do you have any doubt that she could help that school get a better grade, or that these people could get your dog to become a certified therapy dog? I no doubt, right? There was a tremendous amount of clarity there. So that's the second element. These aren't in order of importance or necessity. These are just the orders in which, in my head, it makes sense. I want to go back to the one that I hallucinated somebody said over here, and I think you kind of revert to it as well, where you said, like, she came in with this thousands of kids right away. Let's explore that. The 5 that were up here, did they have something, like, what was there a component there that kind of let you to go, yeah, that was pretty impressive? In fact, you even said, I can't remember if you said it or I hallucinated. You said I needed to have something like a big pitch, like a line like that in the beginning. I can't remember if you said that.
That was a hallucination.
That was. Yeah, it was, right? Yeah. Although I think you had some of that, right? The element that you had, Alexis, was you talked about something about you help companies solve their biggest problem or something, right? And so I would say that that's equivalent of the we improve the, what did you say, by the way? Do you remember what you said? We improve the lives of thousands of kids or something?
Yeah, we change the lives of thousands of children, young people, and vulnerable.
Okay, listen to the difference between we change the lives of thousands of children, young people, and vulnerable adults. Listen to that versus we help companies solve their biggest problem. Listen to the difference between those two. What's different about hers versus Alexis? And by the way, Alexis's was great. I'm not jumping on it, right? But there was something better about hers, right? And you know what this is, by the way. What is it?
It's that I used We Help. Or in fact, did I use We Help? Damn it. I'd taken out We Help. So if I put it in, I was like...
Yeah, you did. As soon as it came up, I was like, I'm going to bust his chops for this one.
I used We Help, which help is weak, whereas changing the lives is very active and emotive and so on.
Right, yeah. Like that was much more passive, right? If there's one word I think you should get rid of out of your pitching, is that you help people do things. It's a very weak word. It's very predictable, but when you change the lives of thousands of kids, that is inspiring. Helping, And by the way, it's the most popular phrase in people's pitch. I'm going to guess that if I heard every single pitch in this room, 90+% of you started off your sentence with, we help something. It's just easy. And that, by the way, that's why so many people use it, because it's easy. But now I go back to thinking fast and slow. And stopping and slowing down and doing the hard work and saying, is there a way I could rephrase my pitch from I help schools get from good to great, to could I rephrase that in such a way to where I don't use the word help, right? We specialize in taking schools that are good and transforming them to a rating of greatness that is so amazing, blah, 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 right? Instead of we help companies solve their biggest problem, we specialize in taking the biggest problem companies face and transforming it to becoming a second thought that doesn't even come into their awareness because it is so systemized, it happens perfectly. Right? All of a sudden, when you get, do you feel the difference between help versus an active verb that's in there, right? And if you're looking for a strategy on how to do that, just simply take the thing that you help people do and put it up front, and then describe how you do it. That's kind of the simplest solution I could give you for that one. Yeah, I do have a specific formula for that, but that's essentially it. So we've got clarity, we've got credibility. And we haven't given that label to the one thing, but the one thing that I would say is that there seem like viral companies, like they seem to be doing something bigger than themselves. I don't know if that's the right phrase to say, but that's the one that I tend to use, is that their pitch is something bigger than, there's a selflessness inside their pitch. It's not about their company, it's about transforming something outside of their company. Does that make sense? Where we do blah, 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 this is what we do and this is what we've been doing, but versus, you still might have to say the word we, but this is, we do this for you and you and you and you. And that's what you had really good, by the way, Alexis. You did a very good job making me feel like that was there, yeah? All right, so we got three things in the four elements of a pitch. We got clarity, we got credibility. I'll just call it selflessness for now, yeah? What else was it? What else was in the pitch that inspired you to applaud louder for her? What do you think?
Good connection.
How so? What do you mean?
Real connection with herself and business and what it was doing, the impact connection then with us in the group, and could feel the connection then with the impact that they were.
Interesting. Okay, so there was some sort of a, and when you say connection, the connection between her and you.
No.
Okay.
Those three elements.
What's that?
In herself.
Uh-huh.
So connection, like I said, you could feel the heart and passion.
Oh, she was connected to her mission.
Connected to herself, her mission.
Yeah.
And then that translated then into connection with me or us.
Yeah, by the way, I'll give you that one. Yeah, I would throw that under the category of that selflessness. I'd kind of throw it into that mix, if you will. But granted, I'm trying to simplify it to 4, and we could probably go to 20. Yeah, but I would agree with you. Yeah, there was definitely a connection there in terms of her mission and her life's purpose, and she was connected on that one. Anything else? Can you remember back?
I liked on Sonia, she repeated. So she started with the stats around the good to great and the 300%, and then you finished with that, and it kind of really drove it home.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So I refer to that as an essence, right? So the human minds tend to have primacy and recency, so they'll remember the first thing, they'll remember the last thing, they'll forget most of the stuff in the middle. So she had a really good punctuation at the end of her pitch. I would agree. Yeah. Yeah.
So now I realise the difference, the contrast. So both in Sonia's and actually in Steve's and mine as well, there was a really clear thing of why them versus the alternative. Sonia did it with there was a particular point where she goes, but.
Yes.
Like, lands that, because you kind of go, oh, yeah, and then she goes, but, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on a different thing. And for, Steve had an equivalent one for his focus on USP. So I thought showing the contrast.
Yeah, I would agree. And by the way, I would give you credit, and I think you had that as well. No question. I think Amy had that as well. Yeah. I have a label for that, and I think it kind of goes on with this as well. And what I would say is, like, notice nobody said how much it cost. Like, money didn't seem to be a part of that conversation, right? Like, there wasn't any specials or anything like that. There was no pricing involved in a pitch. Now, in a sales pitch, obviously, yeah, you're going to have to do that. But in a social environment, it's just a little bit too, hey, you want to buy a watch? Kind of a thing. So for me, I think there was something that was beyond just money. It wasn't about trying to make money. It was about trying to solve big problems. It was about trying to change children's lives. It was about building schools and taking them from good to great, right? And there was something about that just made you not really concerned about how much it costs, but more concerned about how to get involved. I think that's the thing that kind of goes with that. Make sense? Yeah. Those are the 4 elements that tend to be present in a really passionate, viral pitch. Clarity, credibility, some level of selflessness, and then focusing on something other than the pound and the bucks, if you will. Make sense? Cool. Key distinctions. Questions about pitching at all. This is something I could probably talk about for 10 days straight without repeating myself. So fire away. Yeah, Alexis. What's that? Microphone. Oh, yes. Sorry. Thank you.
So, question for you.
Yeah.
'Cause whenever I've tried to like write a pitch, you know, using the guidance and so on,
Yeah.
I often come up with something. I'm like, oh yeah, that's good. That works, and particularly in this environment, it works really well. But it comes across really wanky in a social situation.
Yes. Yes.
Right? Like doing that
Yep.
at the bar.
Yep.
That's a massive turn-off.
Yep.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
So I always find that you know, it's almost like, when do you bring that out versus when do you do this? Like I you know, one thing's I kind of look at and I go, yeah, I didn't really put much energy into my pitch, partly because I was acutely aware that I'd used parts of it in my intro when I was sat there being interviewed by Dan.
Right. Yeah.
And so that, like that, even.
Blame your failure on me.
I blame all my failures on Dan. And so yeah, so I'd be interested in your view as like getting that balance so that you don't come across.
So anytime, and I hear that a lot, by the way, and I always think back to the wise Zig Ziglar, who said so profoundly, would you like just the words, or do you want the words and the Zig Ziglar imitation with the accent?
That definitely.
I think of the wise words of Zig Ziglar when he said, if your presentation sounds canned, then you haven't canned your presentation.
Nice.
And what he means by that is that if your presentation or your pitch sounds rehearsed, then you haven't rehearsed it enough to where because there's a bell curve, right? Or maybe I do it this way, right? When you start practicing your pitch, let me do it chronologically. When you start practicing your pitch, it gets mucky and weird and it sounds stilted and rehearsed and it just doesn't sound right. And the more you keep doing it, the more you start second guessing it. And you get to this point where you go, oh, this is just a crap pitch. It just sounds so rehearsed. But if you push through that and you keep going, you get to where it's getting a little better, it's getting a little better. And then you get to this place where it just becomes so natural. It just sounds conversational. And I'll share with you one of my favorite examples of this is a kid named Mike McCoy out in Tampa, Florida. And I worked with him on his pitch, and I gave him a challenge. I said, I want you to go for the 3-foot rule. If somebody's within 3 feet of you, I just want you to pitch your company to them. And I want you to go through the whole damn pitch. I don't even care if they get offended and start walking away, just follow them. Just keep delivering your pitch. It's not about getting the business, it's just about practicing and rehearsing, right? And in fact, with him, I came up with one of my best strategies for how to perfect your pitch. And if you want it, I'll share it with you. The next time there's a conference or a convention or something where they are renting out booths for people to sell their wares, get that booth, get up there, and you're going to have a constant stream of people walking by, and as soon as somebody walks by, just start telling them what you do, and you will deliver your pitch 200-300 times in one day, and it won't even be the same pitch by the end of the day, because you'll start seeing what's working and what's not working, and you'll get so good at it and so conversational. And I remember this kid, I'd watch him, and I was just cringing sometimes, because you could see that people's necks were pulling back, like, just shut up, you know, and he didn't care. He just kept going and going and going and going and going, right? And now it's just natural. It just flows off his tongue so beautifully. And I'll give you a part 2 to that. Any good pitch has components inside it. So in fact, I'll tell you that to me, there's 8 important things critically that needs to be in a pitch. You've got to have clarity. You've got to have credibility. You've got to be able to identify the customer's problem better than they can articulate it themselves. You need to be able to articulate how you solve that in a clear, simple way, which doesn't need a bunch of slides or diagrams, right? And the one thing that I think is most missing in a lot of pitches, and it kind of goes to the selflessness or maybe the beyond just money part, is there has to be a compelling why in there. Like, why do you do what you do? Why are you excited about it? Why are you passionate about that? And then depending upon the kind of pitch, there should probably be some sort of an opportunity that's available and how you take advantage of that opportunity. And then maybe some recency statement for the essence to kind of leave them with one thing. Those are 8 components that I think are critical. But what you don't want to do is write a pitch that covers all of 8 of those things to where it's like you go step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, right? And in order for you to say it, you have to go through all 8 steps. What you want to do is you want to create each one of those pieces of the pitch to be its own independent, standalone thought that doesn't need anything before it, doesn't need anything after it. But yet it is rehearsed, it is perfected, it sounds conversational, and you can say it in any given moment. And you get that good to where you could take all 8 of those things and put them in any order you want. So when you're following Simon Sinek's philosophy of start with why, you know what your compelling why is. Why do you do what you do? And you've got that answer right there ready to go. But I will tell you, Simon Sinek's start with why, I think is a great concept, but it is poorly contextualized. If you start with why in a social context, it's gonna sound weird. The time to start with why is in a sales pitch, not in some sort of a social pitch. If you walk up to me, right, we walk up and you go, hey, how you doing? Ask me what I do. Hey, how you doing? What you do? Oh, the reason why I'm so passionate about helping people develop and perfect their pitches is because I understand and feel viscerally that words change the world. And I'm on a mission to make sure that people stop throwing their words around like pigeon feed and start using it with purpose and intention, right? Like, it's just weird, right? But I'll tell you what, if you're sitting down with me and you're contemplating hiring me, and I say, before we go, let me just show you why I'm here. I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission to get people to change the way they use words, because I know viscerally that words change the world. Wars have been created because we're arguing of what you call a god. Marriages have begun because of 3 simple words. Wait, will you marry me for? And yet they are also ended by another 4 powerful words. I want a divorce. I know that words change the world, but people just tend to throw them around like pigeon feed. I'm on a mission to make sure that by the time we end here today, you're not throwing your words around anymore. You're purposeful, you're intentional, and you get the right result every single time. That's probably a pretty good way to start up a sales pitch, right? But that's a weird thing to do in a social environment. But I can use that in its own independent thought. I don't need to talk about all of those other 4 things before I get to my why. But I would do them in that order if somebody said, hey, get up and tell us what you do. And I've got like an audience on me, and I get, oh, I got 90 seconds to tell people what I do? Great, I'm gonna go through each one. I'm gonna go clarity, credibility, problem, solution, my compelling why. And then if it's appropriate, I might go through an opportunity or next step. Otherwise, I'll just skip it and go to the essence. Yeah. Help that? Does that work, Alexis?
Awesome, love it, thank you.
Yeah, cool. Mike, please. Next question.
Could you just repeat the 8?
Yeah. Clarity, which answers the question, what do you do? Credibility, which answers the question, are you any good at it? Problem, which basically asks the questions, do you get me? Do you understand me? Do you get my plight? Solution, which answers the question, How the hell can you help me? Why, which answers the question, why? Like, why do you do it, what you do? What's the opportunity that you have available, right? If you have like some kind of a special or something like that. Alexis had a great opportunity yesterday, right? He had an opportunity when Ankur was on stage, and he opened up and he showed his white paper that he wrote, right? On AI, right? There was an opportunity. I've created this, and you know what? And I'd love to be able to offer this to you. And if you get inspired, and you'd like to read it, that'd be great. So there was an opportunity, right? And here's the next steps. Just pick it up, take it, or whatever. Yeah. So next steps is how do you take advantage of the opportunity? And then essence is just what's my last thought? It's kind of like a punctuation at the end. Yeah. And we got time for maybe one more question. Depends how long I ramble. Any other questions? Yep.
How much personality do you think your own personality should you bring in? Because I'm, British, self-deprecating.
Yeah.
I rely on humour.
Yep.
Try to, but actually, some people have said that is why they've chosen us as a company. Mm-hmm. But the problem that creates then is they want me throughout the process because they've bought into me, not necessarily.
Yeah.
The slickness of the message and the offering. And I thought all the good ones up here literally were like on, Dragon's Den. They're sort of, it's very much sort of, I'm not saying there was no personality, but it was professional and it was about the mission, all the stuff that you've just talked about.
Yeah.
So when is the right, or is there ever a right time to inject your own personality, and what are the pitfalls and sort of
I think it's a great question. I think it's hard for you to have a compelling why in your pitch if you don't bring your personality into it. So the place to would be in that why space. And like what we've done, for example, with Dan's company, we've rebuilt his entire pitch with all of those 8 components, and it's scripted word for word except for step 5. All step 5 basically tells all of the team members to do is come up with a reason of why you're working for Dan. Like why have you been with him for 7 years? Why on earth is Kevin? Why has Kevin been with him for what now? How long? 10 plus years? Yeah, too long. Yeah. And so I have no right to script that because it's very personal and individual for everyone, but we want all of us to be singing on the same hymn sheet. So now everybody has it. Now we're in the process of learning it and memorizing it, and eventually, depending on how far Dan wants to go with it, there will be an opportunity at like weekly staff meetings. Gabriella, tell us what we do, right? Just by surprise, can your staff deliver your pitch as good as you? Well, once you get it perfected, then teach it to your team. And I'll give you a great example of this, by the way. Here's my last story. One of my favorite clients, Rob Hessel, he came to me. He was doing about 2.1 million, had 10 employees, not a lot of profit. He had 3 silos in his business. One was computer components, recycling, refurbishing. The other one was security systems, and the other was IT technologies support, IT support. And I looked at the 3 silos and I said, I don't want to work with all 3, but I'll work with the security systems only, because I think that was the one that was the most commoditized, and I'm really good at taking commodity-driven product and service and decommoditizing it. So I said, I'll work with that one with you. And we came up with the coolest pitch. And by the way, he was doing security systems for everything from homes to the Amalie Arena, which houses the Tampa Bay Lightning, our hockey team, which is 40,000 square feet. I mean, it's just this, those aren't the same businesses, by the way. If you know anybody in security systems, those are 2 distinctly different businesses, and he's taken anything he can get. So after a long time, we got him down to where, and his pitch roughly came out something like this. My name is Rob Hessel. I'm the founder and CEO of Source One Solutions. At any given time, we are responsible for protecting over $5 billion worth of assets, from the priceless works of art to the Dali Museum to every one of the players at the Amalie Arena and the Tampa Bay Lightning. The biggest problem that large-scale venues face when developing security is blah, 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 and I don't remember what those are. And then he said, we solved that, blah, 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 blah. And then his why was awesome. He goes, and the reason why I'm so passionate about security is because when I was 12, and I'm making some of this stuff up, but when I was 12 years old, after coming back from a day with the family, we noticed that our house was ransacked. They'd stolen all of my grandmother's jewelry, and they beat up my dog, Buddy. And he goes, for me, it's very personal. By the way, none of you give a shit about the grandma's jewelry. All you care about is everybody go, oh, Buddy, the dog, right? And it was just this beautiful pitch. And he got the whole thing done. delivered to his team, had them come up with their own why, and his company was no longer allowed to just say we do security systems. It was, we specialize in large-scale venues, 40,000 square feet or multiple venues, I think is what it was. By the way, another bad word in a pitch is or. He chose it, that's fine, it still worked out well for him. Fast forward, I've known this guy now for maybe 10 years. His company is doing over 300 million. He's got a couple hundred employees. He's got partners in 97 countries worldwide, and he's just crushing it. And here's my favorite part of the story. 30 days into the new pitch, no difference in revenue. 30 to 60 days in delivering that pitch, they did more in revenue in that 130-day mark than they did the entire year previously. The 60 to 90-day mark, they did more in profit than they did the entire 2 years combined previously. And he goes, here's how I know how it's working. My lead sales rep came into my office the other day, and he had a lead card, and he just throws it on my desk and goes, your friend Steve sent us a shitty referral. It's yours. I don't want it. And it was for a house. And he was like, I'm not even touching that lead. You got to deal with it. He gave it back to his boss. He goes, that's when he goes, now I know my team is pitching what we want, not what we don't want. Yeah. So anyway, all right, let's do this. It's a little more difficult for me to speak and send the feedback form out for you, but take a moment to write down your key takeaways that you got from that segment, and while you're doing, I'll queue up the survey, and then we will head off to our break. But because Warwick Conferences, for whatever, he loves to shut our phone's Wi-Fi off every time we shut our phone off. No, I haven't. No, I've done this 12 times already today. All right, there we go. TM.
If you knew how to use business automation effectively,
That I cannot disagree with. All right, there you go. Now you got your text message. All right, it is 12:30. As a quick reminder, if you've not yet picked up some copies of Dan's books, please do so. We do not want to leave with these books. And if you haven't yet filled out the referral form, please do so if you can think of some people that you would love to have come to this program. And if you care to self-manage that on your own, that's fine. Give them the books. And if you can't think of anybody right away, still take the books with you and then think of somebody later. We're cool with that. It's all good. We got to go on to our break right now. We'll be back after lunch at 2 o'clock. What time is that, right? Let me look at the schedule. Sorry, no. Be back here at 1:30. Yeah, so it's 12:30 now. Be back at 12:30, where Dan is going to be talking about how to build your personal wealth. And this is one of his most popular presentations. You're going to love it. It's how he has separated the corporate wealth from the personal wealth and the strategy on how to do that. It's going to be an awesome section. Have a wonderful lunch. We'll see you guys at 1:30.